guess. Welcome to another exciting adventure of
Purana Talk.
With this week's episode,
The Garuda Purana.
Section 1, Chapter 173. Diseases. Dhanvantari said, I shall enumerate the drugs coming under the classes Madhuradi, etc., which dispel various ailments. The chief drugs,
Madhuradi.
Madhuradi.
M-A-D.
Yeah, M-A-D-H-U-R. A with a line over it. D-I. Madhu means honey. Remember, like mead.
Right.
Madhu.
So maybe sweet.
Madhur adi means sweet, etc.
Ah, okay.
But drugs, which are classified as sweet, etc. And it says specifically the chief drugs in Madhura class are, and it says the sweet class, are Shali, Shashtika, Godhuma, wheat, milk, ghee, rasa, juice, honey, maja, Shringatika, Kasheru, Irvaru, Gokshura, Gambhiri, lotus seed, grapes, dates, bala, coconut, sugarcane, Atmagupta, Vidari, Priyalaka, Madhuka. It already had, didn't I say that? Maybe not. Madhuka, Kala, and Kushmanda. Each of these is curative of epileptic fits and burning sensation. It soothes the sense organs. If taken in excess, it produces worms and disorders of kapha. So, go somewhat easy on the sweets, but in the proper quantities, they seem to be curative, especially of epileptic fits and burning sensations.
I wouldn't count on the epileptic fit part working, but the burning sensations, I don't know quite why it would help with that. I don't know why eating sweet things would help with burning sensations, but maybe there's something there.
It's a theory.
Epilepsy, not so much.
Okay. That was 1 through 4. 5. Drugs of Madhura type produce dyspnea, cough, sweet taste in the mouth, aphonia, tumors, goiter, elephantiasis, gudalepa, etc.
And Madhura, M-A-D-H-U-R-A.
Sweet class again. Yeah, Madhura.
It's just sweet this time.
Sweet drugs. Sweet medicinal drugs. But then it says it produces dyspnea, cough, sweet taste in the mouth. We knew that. Aphonia, tumors, goiter, elephantiasis. Does that make any sense?
No.
Okay.
No, I think it shouldn't say produce. I think that's the wrong word.
Oh, okay. Prevent or
treat, maybe, might be the right
There's
word.
a theory. Drugs of Madhura type are used in the treatment of dyspnea, cough, sweet taste in the mouth. See, it just aphonia, tumors, goiter, elephantiasis, and gudalepa, etc.
Yes.
Okay, take that as you may. 6, 7. Darima, Amalaka, Amra, Kapitha, Karamardaka, Matulunga, Amrataka, Badara, Tintiri, fruit, curd, buttermilk, Kanjika, Lakucha, Amlavetasa, and Lona are Amla varieties, acid drugs. Acidic.
Okay.
So these are all medicinal herbs and element and things,
I think it's fruit and herbs actually mixed
and curd
together.
and buttermilk. It's a list of things that have medicinal properties. The same way they've got honey and
but that
rasa
are
and
acidic
ghee,
somehow.
as well as herbs and, to some extent, preparations even show up in these lists.
Sure.
So they're a mixed bag that are being considered medicinals.
Yeah, in this case, digestives, it looks like.
Well, these are all things that are acidic in and of themselves.
Right.
It says these with shunti, which I believe is fennel, are great digestant and appetizing medicines. So they want fennel taken together with an acidic thing as a digestive and appetite stimulant. And I suspect that they would not be advised for pittas because acidic things would tend to aggravate pittas to some extent. These amla drugs generate vayu and mucus secretions. They have aphrodisiac properties. They give a burning sensation. They soothe the system. If they're taken in excess, they may sour the teeth. Excessive intake of amla, acid again, causes looseness of limbs, burning sensation, and coarseness in the voice, throat, mouth, and heart. Excited by the gastric fire, it makes wounds and ulcers suppurate. 10. The salts are yavakshara, sarjika, etc.
Okay, so just a sec, I want to capture this.
So now we've got salt.
It talked about the acidity through 9, right?
Yes. And then it's going to go to salt. So we started out with sweet, then sour, acidic,
right,
then salt. Are we going through all 6 of the flavors? Are we going to get astringent and... All right, so the salts are yavakshara, sarjika, etc. The saline group acts as a laxative, liquefacient, digestant, and generator of mucus secretions. Its potency permeates the whole system rapidly. Exclusive and excessive intake of saline articles tends to obstruct the ducts of the system and produces itching sensation in the limbs, kota, tumors, and discoloration of the skin. It aggravates raktavata, pitta-rakta, loss of manliness, and pain in the sense organs. 12 to 13. Vyosha, Shigru, Mulaka, Devadaru, Kushtaka, Lasuna, Vagulipala, Musta, Gugulu, Longali. These drugs form the pungent group. So these are the hot, spicy.
So
we are going.
This
is 12:13.
Pungent.
Pungent is typically a category, and it's things that we would consider hot.
Right.
But in India, heat is sort of thought of as a different thing.
Yeah,
it's temperature as opposed to biting sensation. This zippy mouth phenomenon. So they are appetizing, purifying, and anti-kapha. Kapha people, to pacify kapha or to lessen kapha. It's often recommended that people eat spicy food. They subdue kushta and itching sensation. They remove the corpulency, lassitude, and worm infections. They reduce secretion of semen and fat. Exclusively and excessively taken, they produce vertigo, burning sensations, etc.
Fascinating.
Now, I know because I scanned ahead that the next one, which begins with a long list of stuff, is going to be the bitter group.
All right. What verse?
Beginning in 14. Kritamala, Karira, Haridra, Indrayava, sweet Kantaka, sweet Vetra, the 2 varieties of Brahati, Sankhini, Guruchi, Dhanvantari, Trivrit, Mandukaparni, Karavelika, Vartaku, Karavirika, Vasaka, Rohini, Shankapushpi, Karkoti, Jayantika, Jati, Varunaka, Nimba, Jyotishmati Punarnava form the bitter group of drugs. So you would have had to wait all that time to know that that was bitter if I hadn't told you.
I appreciate it.
They set the secretions of serum, lymph, etc. flow.
Oh, that's interesting.
They set or let the secretions of serum, lymph, etc. flow.
Right.
They are relishing and appetizing. They purify the ducts, remove fever and thirst, prevent fainting, and reduce itching sensation.
That's interesting, this idea that bitter would prevent you from being thirsty.
Yeah, well, and bitter foods are especially recommended in the hot season. They're seen as stimulating the appetite when it might be sluggish because of the heat.
Well, it certainly would,
And
provided you had all your organs, it would stimulate the bile production by stimulating the gallbladder. So that's well established anyway. So, it's certainly going to stimulate your appetite in that way, especially for oil. Make it easier to digest oil.
And
we're having coffee, Indian coffee.
An Indian coffee. We'll call it Indian coffee. It's also known as Nescafe. Not that nice South Indian filter coffee, but
it's still
international,
I like
corporatized. Yummy. Yeah, there's something about it. I think I just got used to drinking it in India, and it's sort of now. I don't think Nescafe is going to come up in the text.
Probably not.
Excessive intake of bitter drugs dries up feces, urine, and mucus secretions. It removes paralysis of the mandible, wry neck, convulsive pain, headache, and ulcers. (1920). These are going to be astringent.
Here we go. 19.
You got to have astringent. 1920. Triphala, Shalaki, Jambu, Amrataka, Vata, and kindred drugs, Tinduka, Vakula, Shala, Palanka, Mudga, and Chilaka form the astringent group of drugs. They are absorbent. They produce granulation in ulcers. They arrest and dry up mucus secretions. Exclusively and excessively taken, they give rise to pain in the chest and generate parchedness of the mouth, fever, distension of the abdomen, and paralysis of the mandible, which it says parenthetically, wry mouth, W-R-Y.
I wonder if they're actually talking about lockjaw.
Maybe.
So where are we?
From excessive use of astringent?
That's still 20, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Now, let me see. So is that everything? Have we had 6 flavors?
We had. Well, it depends on what you count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes.
Okay, then we're moving into another little bit here. 21, 22. Haridra, Kushta, Lavana, Mesha Shringi, the 2 types of Bala, Kachura, Shalaki, Punarnava, Shatavari, Agnimanta, Brahmadandi, Svadamstra, Erandaka, Yava, Kola, Kulatta, etc., Karshashi, Dashamula, the 10 roots. These drugs severally and in combination remove excess vayu, pitta, and kapha. So they're pacifying to all 3 doshas, it looks like. 23-25. Shatavari, Vidari, Balaka, Ushira, Chandana, Durva, Bhakta, Pipali, Badri, Shalaki, Kadali, Utpala, Padma, Udumbara, Patolika, Haridra, Guda, Kushtaka, Shatapushpi, Jati, Vyosha, Aragvadha, and Langali are called kapha subduing group of drugs. Among lardaceous substances, ghee, oil, fat, and marrow are the most excellent. Lardaceous. I think it's my first time with the word.
I've never seen the word
lardaceous.
lardaceous before,
And yet
but it's apt in a way. Because I mean, these are all
Paints a
oily,
picture.
fatty
Oh, yeah.
things. You know, these are the sorts of
Lardaceous.
things Tibetans would love to eat.
That's an odd.
Well, I mean, they're really into this
Well, if you're in the
high
cold,
altitude,
yeah.
cold situation where they need this oil. And otherwise, their skin dries out.
But this is in a section that's just put things, that are all kapha subduing, and kapha, if anything, is associated. I mean, it's antithetical to these fats and oils. I think, that because the kapha is often seen as someone that's a little bit on the heavier side and
Right.
a little bit slower moving and not burning up the food. Really, the furnace isn't
Right.
running as hot and fast.
Mhm.
In a sense, so that it's.
Yeah, well, I don't know why they're recommending it, but they are.
2629. Those who like to improve intelligence, memory, understanding power, and digestive faculty must take ghee regularly. You hear that?
Brain
I know
food.
some of you resist it, but ghee is a lovely thing. Don't just drink it. Although I've heard stories, if you get into the ghee cult, and there's some
Moderation.
In a pitta patient, ghee alone should be administered. Yeah, ghee is especially good for pittas. It's very pacifying of pitta. In a vata patient, it is administered with salt. In a patient of excess kapha, it shall be administered with vyosha and alkalis. And I think vyosha was listed as one of the pungent things. And I forget what it is, but yep. It's the first one listed in the pungent group. Something.
G. How do you spell it?
Vyosha.
Oh, Vyosha.
Vyosa with a dot under the S. It's the Krishna S.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Vyosha.
Theoretically, a retroflex. Sha.
All right.
Similarly, in the case of patients of glandular tumors, sinus worms, obesity, and deranged kapha and vayu also. Oil is administered to the patients of hardened bowels for the sake of lightness and firmness. So also in persons whose fundamental constituents have been weakened by exposure to gusts of wind, sunshine, and rain, bearing of burden, excessive sexual indulgence, and physical exercises.
Well, there's one thing many of those things have in common, and that is dehydration.
Okay. In persons who have coarseness of the skin, pain, debility, quick digestion, and constriction of vessels due to vayu, oil can be administered. Now I shall explain yoni karma in chronic headache. Indeed.
It might mean something like female headache or something like that. Like women suffer from headaches sometimes.
That seem peculiar to their gender?
Well, that are actually connected to their menstrual cycle and things like that. So
yoni karma really is
yoni's action.
Vagina karma, yeah, I don't know.
Because karma just means doing, right?
Yeah. Okay, yoni karma in chronic headache. Now I shall explain yoni karma. Let's listen to what he has to say. The vein is first cauterized before enemata is used. Enemata. A full dose of clyster is 1 pula, 3 akshas, and Sarah told us that's an enema. So 3 akshas of the middle one and half a pala in the small one in the case of oil, decoction, and medication. In sneha karmas, administering oil or ghee, hot water is given along with ghee, but separately in the case of oil. A pitta patient undergoing sneha treatment shall drink over hot water if he feels thirsty. Over hot water? Like really hot water? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think maybe they mean they want steam.
Shall drink over hot water if he feels thirsty.
Or they either that or they want you to drink really hot water.
Well, that was what I said.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell though whether they're wanting you to be drinking it over
Well,
steam
I don't
or
think
whether
they should.
want
They shouldn't be forcing pittas to drink overly hot water because they're already overheated.
But that might make them sweat. See, it might break the situation.
Okay. 32. A person who has been made ditagni, of good digestive power, and agni is fire, and that's really the power behind digestion in the Hindu way of viewing this, the Indian, however you want to look at that. And varchasnigdha, which it says parenthetically means motion oily.
Oh, that's clarifying.
It's hyphenated.
Motion oily.
Motion oily. Must be given such treatment as ensures pacifying the deranged vayu.
The deranged wind.
Precisely. But not very precisely because...
Well, I'm not sure what they're talking about.
Me neither.
Unless it's, the digestive grumbles like I have.
See, sneha, it seems to me, is like anointing with oil or something like that. Right. So it says here that persons suffering from coarseness must be given sneha treatment, and those of extreme glossiness, parchifying treatment. So you're already too shiny, dry out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's wisdom in that, too. That's sort of what the cosmetologists would say now. You're too oily, then you suck up some of that oil and take it away, using cleansers and soaps and stuff.
What if you have combination?
Combination skin is the most common, and you do a little of each. You moisten where you need to, and you scruff where you need to. But anyway,
let's
on we go here.
Onward to the conclusion. The exciting conclusion of today's episode is stanza 33. In the case of disorders due to vayu and kapha in combination or separately, diaphoretic measures are to be used with a compound of shamaka, korodosha, anna, buttermilk, pinyaka, and fried grain flour. These measures are not for excessively corpulent, coarse, weak, or swooning persons.
Yeah, because you're trying to make them sweat. That's what diaphoretic means. So you're trying to give them things that will make them sweat. Okay. Often in the West, it would be done to get poison out of somebody.
And, well, is it done to break a fever sometimes?
Well, yeah. But, like...
Mostly
it's when you...
toxins. You get a lot of toxins out of the skin.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's your biggest eliminative organ. Think of it that way.
Let's think of it that way. Until next time.